I played Midnight wrong. Don't make the same mistake. Oh, what is this? Free gear, save hours. Here, we got a little tip and trick from Bellular on how to spend your time in Midnight right now. Let's go ahead and jump straight into this one.
I just hit level 90, but if I could go back in time to last week, there's a few things that I would have done a little bit differently just to make my Midnight experience a bit more smooth, and there's just a few things I wish I knew.
Oh.
And today, I'm going to tell you all of them. Now, if you don't want to learn about coding, you're not into games, just skip this. But if you're still here, well, the good news is that today's sponsor, Boot.dev, was built specifically for us by, of course, a big fellow gamer. And Boot is actually more relevant than ever. You see, what they do is they teach back-end development. That's the kind of thing that lands you those 100k plus jobs. But they do it through a structured, self-paced program that's designed to be around 12 months. It's extremely in-depth, and it's structured like an RPG. Leaderboards, achievements, quests, big Discord community that actually helps, and crazy stats when it comes to just the amount of users that they've got and how well their platform's been doing. Now, they teach you Python, TypeScript, Go, all of that. And it's all from the fundamentals up. That includes portfolio projects, things like building a Pokedex. It's all really cool. Now, from my side of things, I did a BEng computer science. That's C++ and C# game engine-y stuff, which is a fairly different world to web dev. That's why Boot's really useful to me. And their teaching approach, I'd say, is incalculably better than anything that I really got at uni. It's just far more hands-on and really thorough. And here's the thing. With the Claude codes and the cursors, which honestly are kind of addicting and fun, well, they're only as good as the person who's using them. And what Boot teaches you is the fundamentals that separate a serious engineer from just someone who's generating a bunch of code that they don't understand, that may be cool, but maybe won't work or maybe won't be secure. So if you're serious about getting real engineering skills, this is for you. And hell, their new Training Grounds feature even generates personalized problems based on what has challenged you as you've been doing things on Boot, all with spaced repetition baked in. It's goddamn gigabrain. And you'll get
Rogue, that's amazing. Sleeping on the job and shitting on the job are two of the greatest things in life. No doubt.
If you're not happy, don't worry, they will refund you on the spot. Thanks to them for sponsoring. So after a few hours of blasting the campaign, you really start to get into the flow. Tensions are escalating, there's a looming threat, and then you do just hit a wall. Just when you're ready to take the fight back to Voidstorm, Blizzard hits you with a leveling gate, where you need to be level 86 to start that leg of the story. But the problem is, if you mainline the campaign, you won't quite be there yet.
Really?
If you're lucky, you'll be somewhere in the middle of 85. What's the fix? Well, the 10% XP buff from the Dark Moon Fair will help a little bit this week, for sure, and risking your life in war mode will help at least a good bit more. But your best move here is to use the brilliant one-time XP sources that exist in the game. Now, depending on your goals, most side quests are best held until level 90 for gear. That includes the dungeon quests, but there are key exceptions. Every delve has a Delver's Call quest that gives you a massive chunk of a level, and the tier 1 delves are extremely easy and extremely quick. Extra easy if you're coming in with decent gear at a lower level. So here's what I'd suggest. As you go through the zones, take quick detours to do the nearby delves. Just pick up the quest by the entrance of each, finish the delve, and then hold those quests. Then, once you hit the Voidstorm wall, just go, hand them all in, and you'll ding level 86.
Aren't some of the delves part of the storyline too? I mean, we've gone through a delve already. Some of these delves, you get taken through them because of the story itself. So I guess just pick up the quest before you go do it. Obviously, pick up the entry quest so you can do that quest while you're doing the delve.
But here's the thing. As soon as you hit level 86...
Sam still won't do... I love delves. Delves are a good time.
Stop turning those quests in. There's a very good reason why.
Or hand them as you go and don't have the problem.
There's a struggle to level 90, and it happens again after Voidstorm. Basically, the campaign doesn't give you enough XP to hit level 90. And usually I wouldn't mind here, but it does kinda trap you. That's because at level 90, gear drops jump all the way up to over item level 200. Before 90, it stays at around the 180 range. So if you exhaust easy gear sources while you're leveling up, you'll have fewer potential upgrades available once you ding level 90. And even worse, you'll start level 90 much weaker than you should be. So, instead, finish off any Delver's Call quests that you haven't done. at this point after you've done Voidstorm. Queue random dungeons for the bonus XP, and once you hit level 89, there is a nice quick way to finish off. Not like that, get your mind out of the gutter. What it is crafting. Every first time craft.
I actually read about this too. Yeah, crafting is a good way to hit cap levels. Like, what are they talking about? Yep, it is.
Gives you over 3% of a level, and that means that after about 30 crafts, that's roughly a full level worth of XP. All you have to do is pick up the easiest ones like, say, tailoring and leatherworking, and just level them while crafting each new item that you learn. It's really fast. I'll say that right now it isn't super cheap, and it's a little bit fiddly, but if you want an easy way to access the auction house and get those materials, just use the add-on Auctionator. But
okay, yeah, sure. Also, you get sparks this week. Get 2 of them. I wouldn't use them, though, probably. Why not just save them for the weapon or something? You know, that's going to give you the biggest DPS boost. And you're going to get, you know, by the time Season 1 kicks off, that would mean you need 4 of them in total to craft the weapons, so you'd almost be there by the time the season actually kicks off. You basically, the first week, be able to make your weapon.
Still, doing this will cost you about 10 to 20,000 gold with current prices. That may be fine for you. Maybe it isn't, though. And if it isn't, then I'd say stick to just playing the game. But while we're talking about money, we should talk about money and how you can get some.
Okay.
In a rush, I forgot something important and left tons of free gold on the table. You see, the start of every expansion is a gold rush, a crafter's race to dominate the early market and secure their fortunes. Now, to do that, they're going to need levels. To get those levels, they need materials. Now, I'm not going to spend time grinding, mining, or herbing because
I've just been mining as I level up, by the way, and I think that's a good way to make some quick gold, too, because you're just going to gather up enough resources, you know, every level that you're going to just put it on the auction house. So almost every time I've walked by a mine or a node, I just do it. I'm not planning on actually crafting with it. I just don't do that shit, mostly. But I post it on the auction house, make some extra gold.
There's so much video game to play.
Sam buys his gold.
But there is another way. There's actually 2 other ways. And these are ways to get materials with 0 time investment. The first one is to get loads of cloth. So, in the War Within, Blizzard changed how tailoring worked so that cloth would only drop for people who are tailors. And that means if you pick up...
Brian, thank you for the follow. Welcome to our skirt. So are people going to switch their profession over to tailoring while leveling? Is that what the trick is right now?
Even 1 point in Midnight Tailoring, humanoid enemies will start dropping bright linen.
Thank you, Sir Slasher, for the follow. Welcome to our skirt. Jeez, they like the tailoring part of this. We're getting some followers on it.
Arcana Weave, and Sunfire Silk. All of these things are expensive as hell right now, which is bad for buyers, but in this case, you're a seller, so it's good for you. Now, enchanting is actually also the same deal.
Atris says in chat, I switched to tailoring and made 400 gold. Damn, just for switching a profession? That's pretty crazy. Professions, crafting, you level it up, but like gathering, it doesn't matter, right? So I guess technically you could just swap between, if you really wanted to do mining, this expansion or herbalism, you could just switch to that later. But for now, level up as tailoring. That's an interesting, what's it called, strategy.
While the materials are
400 gold, break in the bank. Well, I mean, he's making it passively is what I think he's saying. Is literally he just switched to tailoring and he's making an extra 400 gold for not doing anything. Because that you're not going and gathering the tailoring shit. It's just dropping off the shit you kill. So it's easier than herbalism or mining where you actually got to go hit the nodes, you know. This is just like, hey, I killed something and I gathered some more shit out of it to sell.
Expensive. Disenchanting old leveling.
400 gold's pretty shit, to be honest. Like I said, though, it's passive. There's nothing you're doing extra. You're just making 400 gold.
Here nets you thousands of gold for near zero effort.
A lot of big dick handies out there.
Gets you a great head start.
They don't care about 400 gold.
You got a whole lot of stuff for free just by knowing where to look. That's what this point is all about, but it's also what the next point is all about. So, WoW's campaign structure makes it so easy to hyper-focus. You blitz from one quest to the next, ignoring everything else. Now, I already explained how that can trap you on your levels, but it can also trap you on your renown as well. And while you're flying around, you'll naturally encounter a lot of things. Your minimap will ping with treasures, magnifying glasses, and rares that you'll almost feel too busy to go and deal with. But I think that's actually another mistake, because in ignoring those things, you're ignoring free renown. That may not seem important, but get this, each faction's renown rewards champion gear at certain ranks. Champion gear. We want that. Now that gear is a solid head start. It'll let you skip
the best gear in the game right now.
4 slots before the season even starts. And of course, renown is an account-wide feature, so this will be huge in your alts. Now, getting renown efficiently is a massive time saver then. So if you ignore all of those lore items and those rares in your minimap, you'll just have to cycle back and wait for those spawns.
Sure.
That'll be a nightmare. So if you just engage with those things as you're playing, you'll be off to a great head start. Now, the other way to get renown is side quests. They're great, but they are fairly meaty. If you take time to actually read and enjoy the stories, which you actually should, they are done as little self-contained side stories, and many of them are quite nice. Well, if you do that, each zone seems to have somewhere around 5 to 6 hours worth of side content overall. And almost all of them are real good. Some of them are fantastic. Seriously, some of WoW's best writing and quest design is inside these side quests. Doing them in a rush just for renown is efficient, but I'd recommend enjoying them slowly with no pressure. If you do that, you
imagine that WoW players enjoying playing WoW. What a fucking travesty that would be. Insane concept. No, but I mean, seriously, I've been playing this, and like, I get rushed by people from chat and game and shit. They're like, hurry up, hit cap level. And I'm like, why? Why the fuck am I going to hurry? I'm enjoying the journey right now, taking it all. I'm ground mounting everywhere. And why is that? Because I got all the time in the world to grind out gear when the fucking season kicks off. For now, I'm just enjoying it. I'm just taking in the story, taking in the new lands and everything, checking it all out. It's for me, it's been fun. And you only, like I said before, you only get to do this once in expansion. And so it's like every 2 years, maybe a little bit shorter now that they're coming out with them a little bit quicker. But I mean, you get this shot maybe once every 2 years to take in a new expansion, new storyline, all new quests and everything else. So why not enjoy it? Yeah, imagine that, enjoying the game you're playing.
You'll enjoy them so much more.
Enjoyment is a DPS loss. True.
I wish I had picked up more little free bits of renown along the way. I was wasting gear drops. We never want to do that as MMO players. And here's the thing. Before 90, getting most gear is a mistake. And at 90, getting gear right away is actually still a mistake. And this is because scaling is your enemy. That is, unless you make scaling your friend. Ooh. Let me explain. Gear drops from world quests, rare mobs, and side quests, and that gear will scale to be an improvement for what you are currently wearing.
Right.
Now, many other sources of gear in the game do not operate that way, and that includes the likes of BOE gear. And that means that you want to get as much non-scaling gear as is possible before you touch a single world quest. And the best way to do that is simply to grab the low-hanging fruit.
Pay to win.
That being BOEs and crafted gear. Now, I'm not saying bankrupt yourself and you don't have to do this, but when you ding level 90, you'll probably be in and around item level 180. Now, tarnished Dawnlit BOEs, they're the 192 item.
What up, Cadence? Yeah, no, crafting, I mean, you're not wrong. Crafting right now is definitely the way to get ahead in this game. And like I said before, you get sparks this week, but I probably wouldn't use them. But in general, crafting not only is going to help you level, like he mentioned earlier in the video, but it's going to give you some really good gear for a lot of slots. And then you can go do your world quests, because by bumping up all these gear slots, you're essentially bumping up what all the world quests give you. And then you do those, right? You slot those gear in from the world quests, and then the next week you get to do it again. And it's kind of, you got 2 weeks basically to bump your shit up before the real, rat race starts with Mythic Plus and everything. So this is a good way to, quickly bump up the gear as much as you can.
Level ones in the auction house are cheap as hell. So you can jump
if you were playing, you would be making a lot of money
near instantly by buying those. But better yet, all the crafters are leveling up right now, and they're leveling by making item level 201 gear, and they are all dumping it on the auction house. And on the auction house, the plate is called Blood Tempered, the mail is called Scouts, the leather is called Smugglers, and the cloth is called Courtly. You'll find eye level 201 and some 204 pieces, often for only a few hundred gold each. Buying these will instantly bump your world quest and rare rewards up in their item level and up to something that really is quite worth grabbing. And this is extremely powerful at the start of an expansion when all the crafters are just making items to level up. And that helps us with more than just gear. The low quality gems are extremely cheap, so you may as well just fill your ring and neck slots for a little bit of bonus power. That actually will be important for doing tier 7 delves, which you'll be doing to farm up some more gear. Honestly, I'd say here, the gearing speed doesn't really matter that.
Speaking of tier 7 delves, I would definitely push your delves up to tier 7, because this way you're going to be so ready when the season officially kicks off to go to obviously tier 8, right? You're only going to have to do one delve. Just do a tier 8 delve off the bat and bam, you're going to get yourself into tier 8 territory. This will be great. So that's a good thing to do this week and next week.
Much, but I think it does make
tier 8 won't be available until the season kicks off.
Especially if you're a solo player, because dungeon runners can at least just do loads of mythics for gear. Meanwhile, you'll be leveling your Valeera, and when it's early on and she's fairly weak, you'll be glad you have those extra item levels. But speaking of NPCs, well, let's talk about follower dungeons.
They're a mistake.
Here's a tip, and it's one that I wish wasn't a tip. Unless you really want to, I actually recommend skipping follower dungeons. That's because currently their AI is just abysmal. They pull entire rooms in Magister's Terrace, they completely mess up positioning and pulls in the Den of Nalarak, and the tank genuinely trolls you in Blinding Veil.
So it's accurate, it's player accurate. The AI is acting like players. That totally makes... What's the problem here? I don't get it. Pulling entire rooms, the tank trolling you. This sounds like normal gameplay with real people. What is he talking about?
Also, the follower NPCs do next to no damage compared to players, so even accounting for the queue time of doing a dungeon with real people, the follower one will be a good bit slower. And honestly, I hate saying this, because follower dungeons are an amazing feature. They just, in this case, got the balance and the AI, well, a bit off the mark. So, just queue with people. But of course, you know what people are like. Doing dungeons is a mistake, too. Okay, that seems weird, but it does actually make sense. First impressions matter a lot.
Tundra Toys, thank you for the follow. Welcome to our skirt. Is that Tundra's cousin or something? Who's that? Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
How you feel when you first see a dungeon or a raid matters to your long-term enjoyment. If you do these dungeons on normal for gear or XP, you're going to anchor yourself to a fairly bad impression, at least in my opinion. Why, though? So let me explain that opinion. You see, on normal, these dungeons aren't really even dungeons. Normal is what other games would basically call story mode. With an average group, mechanics do almost no damage and bosses fall over before
You're going to burn the boss down before he even goes through a single rotation. Yeah, these normal mode dungeons are for sure just, they're too easy. They're too easy. So yeah, Mythic Zero is available anyway, so just go do that.
Basically get to do proper casts and go through their mechanics. Now, getting to see the dungeon and focus on the environment is fun, but otherwise they end up being catastrophically boring. I know though that when you're playing them the harder difficulties, they are not boring whatsoever. So if you care about the gameplay at all, I would avoid dungeons until at least heroic at item level 214, maybe even mythic. And here's why I think you can feel good in doing that.
Delves are
cracked. Look, they are faster and easier than before, and once Valeera gets her AoE taunt at level 9, she becomes a better tank than Bran ever was. Which doesn't really make that much sense, but you know what? Sure, I'll take Valeera being a tank and a healer, and that's especially when you learn how this thing works. Hitting Valeera's Agony drains a quarter of its health, healing Valeera for a ton in the process. Now, if you target swap to this whenever it shows up, things are going to go a lot smoother for you. It is super powerful. And the same goes for using the mechanics in each delve. Things like the eyes in the Shadow Enclave or the insanely strong summoning items actually do bother with those various doodads and thingamajigs because they're actually useful this time around. And with a bit of experimenting with those things and just knowing how the delves work, basically means that blasting out delves for eye level 220 plus gear is both fun
That's probably
easy,
what I'm going to do.
And it will level Valeera up, which is something that you will want to do for the start of Season 1.
Yeah, not only are you going to level Valeera up, I think she's level capped at 45 or something right now. So you can only go so far with that. But as I said before, you're going to push your delves up to rank 7, which is going to prep you for those level 8 bountiful delves. Getting those coffer keys, getting that really early gear, filling out your first vault and everything. It's a really good thing to prep right now.
Okay, this has all been about mains. What about alts?
What about alts?
Quick tip on alts. I forgot this, and I feel very stupid.
Delves and Torghast had a baby. Delves are basically the babies of Torghast. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess it's like, yeah, if it's like when that really hot girl has the not so hot mom, and you're like, how did this happen? That's what I would say to that. Like Torghast, you know, she's hard to look at. But somehow her daughter is like a fucking gorgeous model, because I think Delves are a great add to the game. I do. Even though it's not my main piece of gameplay at all, I really appreciate what they do for a lot of these middle-aged, balding players like myself who got a lot of shit going on in their lives and they want to just still play this game, so they go run Delves. I think it's a great thing. And I cannot wait for Labyrinths. Nobody's talking about them right now because they're not available in the game, but Labyrinths I think are going to be a really good add as well.
I could have had a full level of rested XP on every character, but I literally forgot. You see, rested XP does not start accumulating until your first login in a new expansion. So don't make my mistake. 2 minutes now, just literally going through all of your characters, logging them in and dumping them in an inn where they get rested XP will literally save you hours as you level them up. So absolutely do that.
Oh yeah, I've been getting rested XP every day.
Final tip. Last but not least, I wish I knew just how much game there is before I started. Completing all the side quests in 2 out of the 4 zones took a solid 10 hours.
Whoa.
That's doing them actually trying to read them and enjoy them and treat them as bits of content. It took about 16 hours to finish the campaign and reach max level. So, with just the campaign and the side quests alone during preseason, Midnight is close to 40 hours of game. Plus,
that's some good
all
gameplay.
Of the other secrets, delves, dungeons, rares, collections, all that stuff. So don't burn yourself out before the season. There is a whole lot of game. It's not going anywhere, but I do know where I think you should go next. We do key binding guides. Some people really love them, but this year's has been the biggest ever because we've actually made a custom web tool and a custom add-on.
Damn.
If you've ever thought, oh man, getting my setup right, it's a bunch of effort I don't want to do. We've done everything we can to make it easy, and you can learn about all of that and get the tool yourself by watching this video next.
Yes, you could, yeah. Great stuff from Bellular. I think that's a really good little summary of things you should and shouldn't do right now. It's important. Also, as I said before, like my thing right now with Endgame is I'm probably going to be doing delves. I understand the Renown track grind is a good thing to do right now because of the Champions gear. But overall, I'm just really enjoying the game for the most part. That's why I'm not even cap level yet.
Always use another death.
Monk fan. Thank you for the Prime, man. Thank you so much for using your Prime here. I really do appreciate that, my man. Thank you. Enjoying the game, what the fuck? I know, right? It's such a foreign concept to WoW players. Like, enjoying the game. What a shocker. But I have been, honestly. I think the stories are pretty fun. I think the zones are cool. They look nice. I love Silvermoon as a hub city. I've been taking it all in and enjoying the game. I think it's been pretty good right now. But if you want to do those little tips and tricks from Bellular, I think it's a great video. Nice one overall.